Feels great, you know, to do a song with a living legend. Prince Unique.
It's the Red Light District.
It is my absolute honor to introduce a true icon of Caribbean culture and a legendary voice in the world of calypso music. Hailing from the beautiful shores of Tobago, he is a master storyteller, a voice of the people, and an artist who has carried the soul of the island through his melodies and lyrics. Known far and wide as Prince Unique, his journey in music has been one of passion, resilience, and unshakable love for the art form. His contributions to calypso have solidified his place as a cultural treasure in Trinidad and Tobago, across the Caribbean, and beyond. Today we have the privilege of delving into the life and legacy of this calypsonian legend, the one and only Prince Unique.
Prince Unique, Jeffrey Thomas.
Correct.
Born and raised in Tobago.
Yeah, Mason Hall, Tobago.
Mason Hall, Tobago. So, tell us what early life was like in Tobago.
Well, my early life in Tobago was normal, you know. With regards to the music and stuff, I was always surrounded with music because my father was a musician. He used to build guitars, and he was he was the guitarist in a band. Those early orchestras, brass band and stuff, you know. And so every time they were going out to play, when they come back home, it's like Sunday morning, and all the band members come and they're singing and so on. And so I was right in the middle of that growing up, you know. And because I think that most of my family are involved in music, that they cut from the same cloth as one, you know. So it was easy for me to find the interest in always wanting to be involved in music, you know. And that's where it started. You know, I realized and look, I can sing. And then I wasn't writing at the time, but I was doing covers and stuff, you know. But my main focus at the time was I fell in love with James Brown music. James Brown, old school music, you know. Percy Sledge, Otis Redding. You know, at one time they used to call me the Tobago Otis Redding. And at that time they had Scouting for Talent in Trinidad, as with Holly Batodia, you know. And what used to happen is that they used to have that competition in Tobago to Michael Baker, and the winner was always getting a chance to go to Trinidad to compete in the prelims, you know. So I was able to be a winner in Tobago many times and represent Tobago in Trinidad, you know. And I had this way about me, that this style of dancing, the James Brown skating and everything, flipping the mics and all these things, you know. Oh, yeah. So that was my early thing in the music, you know. And I was pretty good at it, so I kind of move up the ranks, you know. And in my early career, Michael Baker was one of the people who I used to really admire, you know, and wish that I could do the same thing, you know. And now Baker is the one who's actually so proud of me, and he's the one who talking about me like how I talking about him now, you know. So it had a lot of influence, you know, in my early times in music. And then I got to realize that my great grandmother was a singer too, and all my great aunts and them, they were into music, playing instruments and all that. James, you know. So I had a really, and then I decided that, look, I admired James Brown so much that I was going to form a little group. So I formed a group and called the group Jeff and the Flames.
Okay.
You know, because it was James Brown and the Flames, so it was Jeff and the Flame. So all of the fancy things I see the guys and them doing now on stage, I did it before. I did all those skating and pelt mic and all kind of crazy things, you know. So all those things put me in a zone where I wanted to be on stage. You know, and I started from there and started moving up. Calypso and soca, well, soca wasn't yet, but calypso was never in my vein. You know, it was all about American influence in the music, you know, in those times, soul music and all that, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what was your biggest influence?
Yes, soul music, you know. I was like the James Brown at Tobago, you know, and therefore I had a lot of young following, you know, but I was pretty young that time, and I was exploring all the different things of life, you know. I had kids at an early age, right? And I had to be responsible too, you know. So then I was kind of balancing the music with having kids at the time, you know. In those times, you know, once into show business, it was like a star around all the ladies and all these things. So it was something that you couldn't avoid, you know, because once they see you as an important person, they was always around, you know. But thank God, they were taken care of. You know, the kids were taken care of, and I'm very proud of all of them now, you know. And getting into soca music and calypso, from that era, that early 70s and thing, there was a musician from Trinidad who came to Tobago. A band came from Trinidad, and they were residing in Tobago. So I fell in love with the kind of music that they were doing. But prior to that, my father's band, they used to play more like Latin, you know. So when they say breakaway, right, it's not soca, it's like that Latin, that salsa thing, you know.
Okay.
So I was always leaning towards that because it grabbed me, that kind of music, you know. And then I say, you know what, I think I would want to move from the soul and everything, and I'm thinking of whether I should try the calypso. But this guy who came from Trinidad, he was a person who like doing the scouting for talent in Tobago too. So he was recruiting young singers and everything like that. Okay. And he saw me and he wanted me to join the band. So I joined the band as a lead vocalist.
What's
right?
the name of that band?
The name of the band was Jerry Stewart. Jerry Stewart band. And Jerry Stewart, you should know Blacks.
Yeah.
Right. Jerry Stewart was Black's father.
Oh, okay.
Right? And he was from the way back old school with people that you might, Billy Reeves and these people, way out of your time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, way out of your time, you know. And so that I came through all them eras. And I remember working with Jerry Stewart at Club La Tropical, which was one of the biggest and most popular club in Tobago.
I remember that. Yeah.
But right? So I used to be out there performing regular. And one of the things that about me was I always like fashion. Hit the stage looking fashionable because I used to admire like Tobago Crusoe.
That's another singer?
Yeah, he's one of from Tobago Crusoe, you know. I used to admire Nello, Lord Nelson, and all of that, Sparrow, all of that came from my love for fashion. I always wanted to be different,
right.
You know. And so the journey started when Jerry Stewart said, Prince, how I become Prince and Unique. I was singing lead vocals for the band, and one night in a show, I came out with an outfit because I always making my own outfit, getting my own outfit. Instead of buying, I always design.
Right.
So when I hit the stage, there were some people in front, and this lady shouted, "Whoa, oh, he's unique, boy! He's looking unique." So Jerry Stewart, now the band members hear the name Unique, and they start calling me Unique, you know. But at that time, I didn't know what Unique was at that time, right? So Jerry said, "Well, you know, you have to start to sing calypso." So I said, me and into calypso, and I stayed away from the band for about 2 weeks, and they came and called me saying, "This is your culture. So we're gonna do a song together." We did the song, and I ended up in the finals in Tobago. So when I ended up in the finals, I said, "What, brother man, I go and sing calypso." And I started there, and 1986, Calypso Rose came back from America to Tobago. Calypso Rose to form a Calypso tent, you know, because they used to have the CDC tent, which was the Carnival Development Committee, right? And it had so much people who were singing calypso at the time. The one tent wasn't enough, you know. So the Calypso Rose came back and formed Calypso Rose Superstars, and I was one of the members, 1986. And I made the first national semi-final in Skinner Park that year. What? Right? And I remember Rose, when they picked me for the 20, was 24 in Trinidad at the time. When they picked me for the 24, Rose came and she said, Prince, you're going to be the one. You're going to be the one. You know, so she picked me out from 24 other people. And she think that I was the one to break the barrier. And then came 1987. I won the Calypso Monaco Tobago and made the national semi-finals again. Right? So then I was no. So then how well my story is really a long story, a long journey, part A and part B, because I have to come from that era to the next era to the present era. You know, so my journey was long. I remember performing for like $25 a night and having to come down in Scarborough by the corner and wait for the first car coming from Mason Hall to drop things in the market for me to catch up. So by the time that would have been like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh jeez.
You know, for $25. Good money, right?
$25 was
because it was 50 cents to go to Mason Hall from Scarborough.
Oh, okay.
Right?
And you got $25?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He was living nice, man.
Yeah. So then everything started changing when Calypso Rose kind of said discover me then. Right? And in the 80s now, 86, 87, that's when I won that and I get into the national semi-finals. You know, it was that in itself was a good thing in that coming from Tobago, you have to be 2 and 3 times good to make the national semi-finals because they're picking 24, and if they get put in a Tobago, then will be 1 or none, and so which means you have to be real good, right? So when I make those 2 national semi-finals and things start looking up, the next move now was to break into the national thing with by that time soca came in, right? So to get into the national thing now, I had to think of a different way of doing it because you know everybody big down there.
Yeah.
So I decided that look, because I like that Latin music so much, I decided that I was going to write a song about that to enter into the Trinidad market. 1990. So I wrote this song. Well, actually, Pussy Sledge was coming to Tobago. Pussy Sledge. Pussy Sledge. And many rivers to cross, who did all of that, you know. And he was coming to Tobago to do a show at Crown Point, Golden Thistle. That is, they used to have a club down there.
Where was that?
That was in the on Storby Road.
The local road?
The
back road?
The back road, right? The club was down there. I think it's still there. And they used to have these big international shows there. But wherever they having a show, I used to be like the opening act for all them big shows, right? So then what happened is that Pussy Sledge was coming and they had a rehearsal for him. And we were supposed to go to the rehearsal to back him up. And the same Jerry Stewart was the band. So I reached down there late. As soon as I reached and I walked inside, there was a singer, a girl who used to sing with the band, but she was more like a Christian now, right? So she's trying to sing a soca now, right? So, but she's singing the soca, but she ain't moving to sing. So as soon as I reached my door, I hear Jerry say, the girl name was Debbie. She said, Debbie, wind your waist now, you know? And as I hear wind your waist, like something just going up in my head, wind your waist, wind your waist. So I ran straight up on the stage. I said, Jerry, something will be play this for me. I tell you, drummer, play this and play that. But I was playing Zouk music because that was not in Trinidad. That was not for Trinidad, right? And so when I played, I tape it now, and I carry it to a producer, Ronnie McIntosh, and Johnny King, who was my cousin. They took the tape and carried it to a producer in America, and they fell in love with the Wine Your Waist, and that's called the Wine Your Waist Mama. And from the time they dropped it in America, it was a hit. Start getting phone calls, you know, and that is where it started to move because the music was so infectious that it captured the whole thing in Trinidad. That was one of the 3 biggest songs in Trinidad and Tobago.
You can remember any of the lyrics?
Yeah, man.
Give me a little taste of it?
Yeah. If the music feeling right, say yeah, and it have you feeling nice. Step on the floor, it's party time. Free up yourself, enjoy the line. This music put you in the groove. This tempo make your body move. So wind your waist, mama, wind your waist. So that oh yeah, you was a top the time.
Yeah,
Right?
but I think they used to play it.
They should
still,
play, yeah, it's playing all now. You know, yeah. Good. Right. Yes, so what happened is that I kind of form a niche for my own self. So when I hit Trinidad with that, there was not to compare with it.
Right.
So it had its own prominence in the midst of Get Something and Wave with Iowa, Dollar Wine and all of that. It was right there,
It
right?
was unique.
Yeah, it was different, you know. So what happened? Well, that's, as I mentioned, the unique. Back to that is that when they hear the woman call me unique, and Jerry said, well, if you're singing calypso now, you have to add something to that. You're not a king, right? Because you ain't reached there yet. You're not on this side. You say, well, we're going to start you off with a prince and see where you go from there.
Ask where it come from.
And that's how it. And so then that is how the name stick, you know. And actually I live that name because that's how I am naturally, you know. And then what happened after that, Calypso Rose decided that she's gonna take me abroad. And that was my first time I ever leave Tobago and go anywhere to sing. Yeah, Calypso Rose. So she carried me to St. Vincent. That was the first island I ever singing, right? And you know she's queen over there. She's queen over there. Yeah, in St. Vincent. Queen, man. Not St. Vincent alone, all over the world. Calypso Rose, you know. You're talking about. Calypso Rose, you're talking about, you know. Everybody has advanced from she. All the other vocalists, you know. And so my journey started there. When I started traveling, when I did Wine Your Waist, then I came with Be a Believer. So actually I was writing lyrical songs and always had a story regardless of what I'm singing about. There was always a story that you would follow. And that is what composition is about. You know?
You wrote every song that you got?
Every song that I have, I wrote every one. Because after the other calypsonians in Trinidad who could write, like Merchant and all these people, when they actually listened to my music, it was different. Because Leston Paul did a good job at capturing that Zouk and Soca mixture. So anytime you say Zouk in Trinidad, is one name that's come up. All know. Everybody has tried and failed.
Yeah, when I was doing my research, that's one of the things they said is like when you did your time on the cruise lines, it's like he's known for doing Zouk.
Yes, and well, I mean, like I was one of the favorites with the American Embassy here when they have all the cultural shows. They would say that Prince Unique have to be in there. He's known for that energy. But I always bring a different kind of energy to the thing, you know. I bring a different kind of a fashion to it. I remember when I came out with those big pants, them big fat pants and things. Play out there, you know, people like coming from like kind of a capra, like. But they used to laugh, you know, until after I see every one of them come pick it up and they go on with it, you know. So I personally believe that doing that genre of music is what make me stand out with all the kind of a competition that's going on, you know. Yes, all of them, you know. So as I say, is a two-part story, you know. Now into the composing and all of that, you know. I always like composing, you know, and people start seeing me as a songwriter, you know. So I had to dig deep into it to prove that, you know.
So let me ask you a question. What is the difference between a composer and a songwriter?
Well, it's not much of a difference, you know. Not for me, not much of a difference because what you're composing is like writing, because the composing aspect of it comes from within, right? It's not like I sit down and write For me, I cannot sit down and say, well, I'm writing a song, right? Writing a song is like a term for me that in the copyright industry. But so when I sit down, it's like doing composition in school in those times, right? You have to think about the subject. You have to think about you have to think about all these things. You have to think about all these things to put together as a story that makes sense. Not like just putting words together because it sounds catchy, but it must make sense. It must make sense in a way that it would become a classic, something that you would always want to hear. You don't matter. I write song. There's no time limit to any of the song that I write, because the way in which I carve the story, right, is for yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and that's how I write. You know. And as you mentioned that composing is a funny thing in that sometimes you don't know where it comes from. You don't know where the idea comes from as a person. For me, all the elements that surround me in the day or wherever I am, my ideas come from that. You know, so I don't have to be in any special place to get an idea. Wherever I am and I get an idea, because my thing is that my writing or composing antennas always out. They're always out there. Like they're out there searching. So anything that come in, right?
You vampire, you sukunya, you bloodsucker, you Dracula.